We'll be taking it piece by piece about the different sectors, the different aspects that need to be changed, need to be improved on, need to be worked on in this next 4 years. So we'll take some opinions from people on the street, and we'll be right back after this on Conversations.
Without security, whatever you're doing is rubbish. Life is upmost in every society. So I will tackle security head on long, whatever it will take.
Job opportunity, providing job for the youth. Because most of the youth, what makes them to enter into bad gang is when they don't have work. And for them to do that, they have to go into drug so that they will not know what they are doing. They can fulfill what they want to do. Can you imagine a mother will suffer to train a child to university level without even tying a good rubber, eating a good food because of that child to go to school and finish, hoping that mother is expecting that when that child graduates from the university, she can be the light of the family. At the end of the day, nothing. You see a child at home for 5 years, 6 years, no job.
I believe there's enough employment opportunity for the youths. They won't even think of doing any sort of or indulging sort of activities. So if there's enough employment opportunities for everyone, I think for we going to school, graduating, we don't want to live that kind of life. But, once there's employment, everybody will be employed, doing what he or she loves to do. And with that, the economy will be progressing.
The women are reliable and they are hardworking. So I think if we can try as much as possible to empower the women, we will get much in return from them.
Just as we heard in the news today that 17 states cannot be able to maintain the state, it is inability of them to have a creative spirit into business. In that state we have, in the Federation, trust state, there is mineral resources that if the governor can be able to bring himself down and look into those resources in the state, he can use it. Like, I will start example, like Benue State, they have a good land, fertile land that can produce food that can feed the state. When I was a child, in my early age of 17, 18, I used to leave my state and go to Benue to bring rice, gari, and other things, which means if Benue State can go down in agriculture, it's also business, and empower the people, produce those food, they can sell it and also make money and also put the state in good condition.
There must be security, because where there's no peace, there could be no development. I'll give you some examples. I'm aware that, people are working, people are engaged in productive activities. They will not have time to engage in crimes and criminalities. I'll give you an example. This Ajakuta Steel Company, assuming that place is working, it can employ hundreds of thousands of people, which means the whole people in Kogi State, there will be no unemployment there. So at what point will they go and start doing armed robbery, kidnapping, and all other type of criminality?
It's all about agenda setting this week in the Conversation Room. We're moving on from one level to the next level, and Nigerians want something new. We want something fresh. We want improvements on so many levels. What's the first that comes to mind?
Power.
True.
Electricity.
Yeah.
Then also accountability.
Okay.
To a large extent, government needs to start being accountable. Talking about power, we see NEPA bills going up, and then we also see more of the power interruptions. So then we need to know what's going on. We need that changed. We need to see more of electricity. And why is the NEPA bill going up? Why is it going up? Because the other day I saw a protest in front of the NEPA office somewhere in Suleja, and I was driving past, and they were protesting. When I pulled over, NEPA bill has been hiked over 50%. So, without any reason, they don't even know why. So, what is going on? Why should that be happening? So, on issue of power, we really need change. We need to see more of. I heard the Minister of Works and Power, and he said a lot of things. He said about the increase in megawatts, but is the man somewhere in Abakaliki, is he seeing it? The guy somewhere in Mubi Yola, is he seeing it? You know, what percentage of people actually seeing this increase. In power as purported by the government?
Yeah.
So in the issue of power, we need more explanation from them. We need to know what's going on.
Okay. What do
Yeah,
does
to
power come
buttress,
to mind?
power, of course. That's our major problem in this country, because it's not just power having light at home. It's about businesses that are struggling.
Yeah.
Power is affecting a whole lot of businesses. I mean, we know how the unemployment issue is a mess in this country right now. So a lot of young people are encouraged to go into entrepreneurship, and then there's no power to generate. There's nothing to encourage that business with the epileptic power we have in this country.
Yeah.
So one of the things I think this government should be thinking about is, it's not about increasing the megawatt. What about alternative sources of power? We've talked about this over and over and
Over again,
over. You know,
yes.
the alternative source of power. We have plenty of sunlight, the solar power. I know, yes, they are doing a lot of things, but a lot needs to be done. So if the current grid, the national grid, is not giving us enough, why not get investors to come and invest and get the country moving, especially with power. This power issue has been an issue that's been ongoing for years. It's just unending. So I think if this government can take out a lot of time, invest energy, invest money in the power, especially thinking about alternative sources of power. The solar is there, the wind is there, the biomass is there.
Yeah.
It's a very big picture. It's something that I think they really, really, really need to stress on to take care of this power
Just
issue.
to add to that, the metric system as well. We heard that the government has privatized the
Yes.
meters, but everybody's still lining up at NEPA office, because who are the private investors that are actually issuing out this?
These
The
meters.
meters, yes.
I
Because-
have a story to tell with
Yeah.
that.
We need to know why we still need to queue up at NEPA office.
When it should be available.
When
it should be readily available.
Because no one is comfortable with NEPA billing me directly.
Estimated
We don't-
billing.
Estimated
Estimated
billing.
billing.
We don't
it's
trust
something
that
else.
system anymore.
Yeah.
I want the pay as you go. Why is it an issue up till now in Nigeria, except in the cities? Why can't we have the pay as you go?
Especially in the rural areas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rural
I mean,
area.
we're here in Abuja. It's
There's
a
a
bit
shortage
easier.
of the meters.
Why is there a shortage
Because
anyway?
I know personally it took my family 2 years to get the
2
meter.
whole years to get a
Yes.
meter.
We eventually paid twice for it because I don't know what happened to the first payment. But we paid a second time and it took quite a while to eventually get it. And that's all we're just wait. Let's just have the meter because the estimated billing was outrageous.
Yes.
It really was.
If it has been privatized, like government is saying, let's know where are the outlets. Everywhere.
Who do we go to?
Where
do we go to? Yes.
I see more of the vendors selling the power vouchers
Yes.
than the people
meters
selling
itself.
the meters itself. And that's just funny.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go in town at junctions, it's easy for you to buy power with your phone.
Yeah.
It's easy for you to see outlets where they sell power. But the meter itself, it's unavailable.
Yeah.
Not only is it unavailable, we don't see the people selling it.
Yes.
So what's happening?
I think because we still have, like a single national grid, I think if we get to a point where what I was talking about earlier, alternative sources of power, talking about this privatization, where maybe individual companies can now provide power.
Well,
and then you can decide where to buy your power from. That's possible.
Individuals are trying to provide alternative sources, solar and everything, but they're quite expensive. I've seen a
Yes.
couple of quotes for solar panels, and I'm like,
They're quite expensive because they're,
It's not for
these
the
are done by
average Joe.
these are done by
It's really not.
individuals. But I think if the government come in as a body,
Yes.
maybe to bring a single into the, a single body or a single company into the country, and maybe subsidize it.
Yes.
That would make a whole lot of difference to solve, especially for businesses are struggling. I went to Area 10, where you do the printing,
Yes.
the printing stuff. Oh my God, the people that are doing businesses there in the next 10, 15 years to come, a lot of them will be deaf. That's the truth. That's the truth. You need to see
I've
the
been
kind
there
of
before.
the kind of
Yeah.
sound that comes out from. I'm an environmentalist, so I can tell the kind of sound all the offices, and they're close to 100,
Yeah.
they all have generators.
They must have generators.
They
That's the
all,
only way.
they all have. So imagine a business, and you're spending, imagine the amount you spend buying fuel on a daily basis just to run your business. So imagine if you have constant power. So if a single company can come in and provide solar power or something to that kind of area, at least
Yes.
to that kind of area, that would be a big
one.
one.
Nigerians don't mind paying for power.
We don't mind paying for power.
It's consistent.
We just want it to be there.
But if it's going to be there, it's going to be available.
We will pay. Nigerians will pay. An average Nigerian will pay. Yes, those in the rural area, but the truth is, the government needs to start thinking, out of what is happening now, what can we do better? I was at a forum sometime late last year, talking about those in diaspora to come and invest in the country. Yeah. These are the kind of things you should encourage them to come and invest in. Investors to come and invest in this. I know, of course, the government is doing it, but there's a whole lot that needs to be done.
Yeah.
That's
okay, well, moving on from power, what about the 1 meal a day a program that's being carried out in the rural areas? Because you mentioned the rural areas earlier. Do you think that's been successful so far, or
for me,
for improvement?
For me, the truth is one of the problems we have in this country is sustainability. That is a major issue. There are lots of projects all over the place, scattered all over the country. What sustains this project? They just kick it off and it's beautiful, it's fantastic. There's no form of sustainability. It's just there. I bet you most of this project, if you go back, it might not be, the plan they had for it might not be working out that way, which is really, really sad.
Yeah, because
I don't think it's not sustainable.
You see some of the videos on social media and you're wondering,
and you're wondering, is it the same thing that was flagged off a couple of months ago?
That was promised to us.
Yes.
I have a take on that.
So if you must start it well and have a system that will sustain it to a period of time you want to have it go on.
That begs the question of monitoring scheme.
Okay.
We need an effective monitoring scheme. There's the government, and then there are the people.
Okay.
And the government. The government has kicked this off. Yeah, we've seen it.
What next?
What next? Now, where it's no longer functioning, or where there are failures, I think the people needs to stand.
The Nigerian people, meaning you and me.
Yeah, me and you.
Okay. You and I.
You need to start saying, why is this thing no more working? You need to start raising the
We need to start holding someone accountable.
We need to start holding local town criers meetings to say, no, if this is what this man said is going to do, and this government has been awarded, and this is flagged off, why is it not functioning? Because I know the Minister of Works, not just only on the 1 meal per day, other projects. The Ministry of Works, they have this what they call oversight functions, whereby they supervise these projects. True. But it's easy for the government and for someone to connive, and then this monies just go in the wind. It's very easy. But if the people should stand and say, this borehole has been awarded, what's happening? Why are we not seeing it? I think it's going to put a whole lot of things in check. Like every program that has been flagged, the media house, we can do a good job by airing it.
Yes.
So once there's something going on, we need to do a good job by saying, this is what the government has done.
Okay.
The people needs to know and follow it up.
What about social media? Isn't that serving as a checks and balance even for the government? When things aren't working, then people...
Sadly,
sometimes I feel it's a good idea, sometimes not so good idea.
I really thank God for social media. Social media is something that happened to this generation that is putting everybody in check. That's the truth. It's one good thing that happened to this generation. But the sad part of social media is that people just go on social media and talk, and does nothing.
Sadly,
so the point he's raising is not just to talk. It's about getting down to the roots, getting dirty. Who should be held accountable? Who should be doing it? Who are the people that we voted for? Why are they not doing what they're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Okay, project has been flagged off, and that's it. You flag off a borehole today, and by next month it's not working. Who should be held accountable for these things that are not working? The rules, the things you promised us in your manifesto, I will do this, I will do that. Why are they not happening? I mean, we know how the
power is for the people.
We know the promises that were made. I know the unemployment thing. I know the brouhaha that was made about it. What happened after all? Nobody said, and that just died down like that. So it's one thing to have social media and people talking and going. Yes, it makes a whole lot of great effects, but it's not enough.
I agree.
Sadly, when I go on social media, people are just complaining, insulting. The Western world is different.
It is.
They use it to organize meetings. They use it to mobilize a movement. They
Yes.
use it to start up a protest. You know, we just talk and complain.
So
and then
Nigerian social media needs to move away from the devices,
Yeah,
away from the devices, and then into
get into
action.
the streets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
I mean, we can say no. You are done with your 4 years. You can't come back. You know, but a politician is arrested for fraud. He is, you see EFCC arrest him. He is in court, and the man wins elections. And I'm wondering how.
Yes, and you're wondering. The truth is, Nigeria, I think we're gradually evolving.
Yeah.
It will take us time to get there, but I strongly believe we will get there. We'll get to the point where we will tell ourselves, you know what, enough is enough. Because right now, a lot of the people you want us to hold someone accountable. The youths, let me take that for example. A lot of them are unemployed. And unemployment is something that this incoming government should. They just need to sit down to say, you know what I know they have the Empower.
I was just about to say, but on the
Yeah.
flip side, they are doing something. They're doing something.
I'm not saying they're doing nothing.
And I've seen testimonies of the Empower. I've listened to some on radio, people who are
But
actually...
there's a whole lot that needs to be done. The NYC is churning out graduates in droves. What's happening to them? I'm not saying give everybody a job. I encourage entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur myself.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, could there be packages, like, I don't know what's happening in the NYC camp right now. Could there be packages why people are serving to say, okay, you're serving your country, okay, learn a skill in the process. So peradventure, you come out and you don't have a job. Could the government fund things like that? Could there be things like grants? Could there be things like funding for business, especially little startups? These things are not there. So people graduate, there are no jobs, and then there's nothing to fall back to. A lot of young people now, they just look for things themselves. Some people go into makeup. At the end of the day, they don't even have funds to start up their own business. Yeah. It's terrific.
Yeah.
So these are things that, policymakers should sit down, check and know what to do, especially this upcoming administration.
It's born out of the idleness and boredom that these youths are, that things like internet fraud and the rest of it is really escalating. You see, every other day, I open a new page and people are being arrested, young boys, young people being arrested.
It's really sad. It's really sad, especially with the internet fraud thing. It's really, it's a mess.
I know the government is doing a lot on that, but I feel, sometimes before you say you're Nigerian anywhere else outside of the country, you pause for a minute before you say, because they've already...
you know the reaction you want to get. But the truth is...
They profile you in a different way, So I'm hoping that the government can do something about the vast amount of youths that are sitting behind their computers just trying to make money easily off other people, off the hard earnings of other people.
These potentials in these young people can be harnessed into something better.
I was going to say that.
It can be harnessed. Imagine a young guy sitting in front of you for 6, 8, 10 hours.
Yeah.
Imagine the knowledge they have. It's not easy to defraud people, That's the truth. That's the truth. It's not easy. I don't know how to do it. It's not easy.
I know.
If someone can defraud someone, there's a whole lot that person can do.
I was going to say something on that, yeah. But first of all, we need to some extent, I think this government has done well in creating SME funds.
Okay. Yeah.
So for startup business, even in camps, there are skills acquisition programs going on, and then there are grants, like you mentioned.
Okay, I never knew that.
Yes, that is going on. I've heard the Vice President a couple of times talk about the loans that they are dishing out.
How accessible are these loans?
Well,
that's another factor entirely. How accessible are they? We're talking about loans now. That's for young people. But let also shift our attention a bit to the older generation.
To the older people who have businesses and need funds too.
After working for years, 30, 35 years, what do they fall back to? What skills do they even have to continue their lifespan? So someone that's been in the civil service for about 30 years and has no business experience, at the end of his service year, you give him some money. What does he do with it? Do they have, I know before my dad retired, they had to take them on, he works in the private sector in an oil company. They had to take them on a course for a couple of weeks or thereabout, where to orientate their mind on, okay, you're getting this kind of money, but you need to look for a way to, they have to get people to come and, I don't know about how they do that in civil service, I'm not sure. But the truth is, while you're also thinking about the young people, you're also thinking about the older generation.
Old people,
They should factor these people in as well.
Because the pension, unlike before, the bulk that people used to get is not, now it's, they give you part of your pensions, the savings, they give you part of the and then you're now entitled to an allowance after each month. They now give you an
Okay.
allowance. So, you know, some people are not quite used to it. And of course, it's just a percentage of what you're used to. It's a
Yes.
percentage of the salary
So
you were
it's tough
getting.
on
So,
them as well.
yeah. So even reprogramming someone to think that, to know that, okay, I'm not
This
going to
is the
get
reality that will be
yeah,
coming
this
to
is
you.
my new reality.
Yes.
And most of the people retiring have children still in school.
True.
A lot
Very
of people
true.
still.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to need
University for
money.
them.
Yes.
You're going to need money one way or the other. That's the honest truth.
We need more clarity on what's going on in the pension, because I think some sectors are benefiting more from the pension. I think the military, you know, they're benefiting more from pension, but the civil servants, like you said, because this is why people go stealing in office when they know there's nothing to fall back on. After their service years, after 35 years of service. So we need to review the pension scheme and make sure that every sector, not just only those working in the multinationals, you know, but every sector, they're benefiting from the pension scheme. Because I think the civil servants are really suffering.
And that is the
from that.
basis for corruption, if you ask me.
And
that's
they
the truth.
and they are more in population.
That's the
So a
basis
lot
for
more.
corruption.
A lot more.
That's the basis for people stealing government funds. Because when you look at where you're heading to, you're not even sure where you're going to get at the end of the day. So you just have a basis to, you know what, let me just grab everything I can grab now. I can grab it.
Another thing that I feel the government should focus on more in this new next 4 years, this next level, is security. Yeah, traveling by road now,
It's
I
almost a
think
nightmare.
twice before I put myself
Very
on the road
true.
to go from A to B.
Yeah, very
because,
true.
I mean, I'm not just talking about long distance travel.
Even short
within
travels.
even within
Even within
cities, people
Abuja.
are being snatched off the roads.
And we are hearing repeated cases of policemen shooting civilians.
Okay.
That is something.
I think the vice
that should
president
be
came up
checked.
with the end SARS thing. I don't know how effective that was
SARS,
thereafter.
yeah, you know, there have been a whole lot of cases. A friend of mine was actually affected in Lagos. So the government, I think that sector should be trained. The policemen, they need more of training.
But I think the bit she's
I was
talking about
looking
is not actually the policeman. I think she's talking about like the insecurities,
The
right?
insecurities and kidnappings, but of course that's also another
because they're on the
area
road.
of
You know, yeah, they're on the road. I think the policeman needs training. When I looked at a video that showed the police command where they're being trained, it's a mess. Really, it is.
I know
The facility is not.
training
it's not
is
nice.
an issue. Also, the number of policemen to
To the proportion
to
of
the
civilians.
populace. I don't know what the
proportion is.
ratings are. How many citizens to a policeman?
policeman,
but
yeah.
I know for a fact that it's not even close to what it should be
Yes,
in
yes.
And
an
good
ideal
thing their
situation.
salaries have been increased. Really
Oh.
good, you know. But when you talk about securities and kidnaps, I think Nigerians, we need more of, after the crime has been committed, how do we resolve it? People no longer depend on, say, I want to go to police station, I've been robbed, the armed robbers will be arrested. You know, I
Okay.
think a lot of times it's all about they're trying to prevent crime. But okay, after the crime has been committed,
what next?
you know, we don't have, I don't think we have the database, the CCTV cameras.
Well, that
all
was
of those
CCTV
things.
cameras in Abuja, so what happened to them?
They used to be in Abuja.
They used to be.
in
They used
Abuja.
When
to
I
be.
came back into the country, there used to be CCTVs in some parts of Abuja, but I'm not sure that
So
functioned.
we-
And that's the sustainability I was talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Something came to mind when the Sri Lankan tragedy happened, and they picked some of
The clips of
the clips, and I was amazed in Sri Lanka that there were cameras that functioned, and they picked different
and I
people at
heard the
different
prime
hours.
minister or someone resigned or something.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So I'm like, why can't we have that kind of surveillance? Why can't we have cameras
Yes.
in
At least within the city.
in well-populated areas to protect our people?
Mm-hmm.
It's really important.
You know, with the kidnapping you're talking about, it's really a terrible situation right now in the country. And I really think, I belong to some groups and I read some write-ups, and it's not a joke. Even within Abuja, I was traveling in private transport some time ago, and you know this one chance,
Yeah.
one chance, and everybody else in the public transport had been a victim of one chance except me.
If you live in Abuja,
Wow.
you
Yes,
also
in
know
Abuja.
someone that, has been
I
a
mean,
victim
we were
of
like
chance.
5, apart from the driver. Even the driver had been a victim of one chance. So it's you're going from out
Wow.
from your house. You're like, okay, like for me, if I'm not driving, I have to go to a designated park to enter a car. That's how safe I need to keep myself within Abuja, which is perceived to be the safest city
And
in the country.
yeah.
So if it's Abuja is not safe, what about other parts of the country?
And you know the truth. The thing is, the areas where this one chance is mostly carried out, everyone knows. Like, it's popular that this area.
So why
is
are people
noted.
not, why are people not being caught?
Hasn't this information behind
Yes.
and used to put
Exactly.
to the use?
So we need to. I was driving through town the other day. This area in Jabi Garage, by 6 p.m. the traffic grid.
Okay.
The policemen, the shots. I think they leave by 6. So my question is,
After
this
6,
area-
what happens?
After 6, what happens?
Yeah.
It's deadlock. You don't want to go through that area. But if I know that if there's a traffic warden there, definitely that will be resolved.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say is, these things are known. Are we lacking the personnel to do it?
Yeah.
The areas where these crimes are being carried out. Why are people? Why am I not seeing people there? I only see policemen on the road at night in Abuja. You know, that's the only
I see
place.
other agencies on the roads of Abuja more than the policemen.
More,
I
you
see
know.
VIO, a lot of that. I see a lot of FRSC officials on the road more than the policemen, you know.
Yeah.
And this is within Abuja. So what is happening outside Abuja?
Yeah.
So these are the things that the government should really be thinking about, especially with this kidnapping issue. The kidnapping has left the Niger Delta, river areas.
Yes.
It's now in almost every part of the country.
Almost in every
part of the country. Even I was surprised the outburst in the north is terrible. We heard of the lady that was, the British lady that was killed more recently.
Yeah.
An aid worker for that matter.
worker.
It's terrible. People now, you drive out, you're wondering what's going to happen next. Relations, even the East, is all over. So the government needs to, insecurity is a big challenge they need to tackle. I don't know how they tend to go about it, but it's a big challenge.
I think
they
it
need
has to do with intelligence. I think we need
Artificial intelligence,
I
yes.
think we need to work on the amount of intelligence that the military personnel are working
If it
with.
means getting foreign partners to come in
I
and
think
train
we
our
need-
personnel,
yeah.
I think they should go ahead and do it.
That's actually a
Yeah.
good idea.
We need to have intelligence. We need to say, this is what's happening. You know, abroad they have the undercovers, they have different sectors of people just working on intelligence.
Yes.
You know, a crime can't go off. Even in Sri Lanka, they were warned.
Yeah,
They were,
were.
a crime just can't go off in Western countries without them having an idea that this can happen.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to get to that level where we've developed our structures to the point where we know the people carrying out these crimes. We know the syndicates or the cabal or
Yeah, the
whatever they
cabals,
are.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to start knowing, you know, and not just someone has a car and then is excelling in the one chance business.
Yeah, that's
You
another
know,
thing.
and it's provoking to the masses. 2 weeks ago, they burnt down a car and they almost killed the guy. You know, so, but the security personnel need
People
to
are now
start
taking
stepping
laws into their hands. That's another aspect. People are
And
taking
that's
laws
not-
into their hands. People are lynching people.
That used to happen a lot in Lagos, but
It's happening in Abuja, in my area.
Initially, the Lagos back then was
Yes,
old.
even in the East, it used to be very, prominent in the East.
Yeah.
Right, in fact, sometime
But
late
now
last year, 2 guys were burnt down around my area. This one chance thing, they caught them and they were burnt
On the
to
spot.
death. So if we have more of these security issues in check, a lot of these things can be, it can be managed, it can
Yeah.
be curbed. So this administration needs to, the insecurity is terrible. It's terrible.
What about healthcare?
Healthcare, it's a whole, I had a little stint of, working in healthcare when I came back into the country.
Okay.
And it's even nice and pleasant in Abuja. Sometimes
Is
I
it?
used to, yes, it
I
is
take
in
my
Abuja.
kids to a federal government hospital. I know how long.
Yes. When I say
takes
nice,
to wait
so you can imagine
to
how
see a
it
doctor,
is.
to see a
So
pediatrician.
imagine how it is outside Abuja.
It's a long
Just-
wait.
Exactly.
I have
That's
to
the
take
point I'm
time
trying
off
to make.
work
So
when I
even
take
we,
any of my
even we in
kids.
the capital, if it's this strenuous, if it's this stressful, what about those outside the city?
Yeah.
Outside the city of Abuja, I had my second son in National Hospital, and it was a good experience, to be very fair.
Okay.
But sometimes when I hear the kind of stories that come out from the general hospitals, all of a sudden doctors are on strike. Why are they on strike? Oh, their salary is not being, and you don't blame them. You don't blame these people for going on strike because they have a need. They also have families that should be taken care of.
And the truth is, not all of us can afford private care.
And
Of course.
Not all of us
But there's a part
can
of
afford it.
healthcare I want to bring to limelight. In the area of the AL system, where someone is rushed to the emergency unit,
Yes.
and then the hospitals will not want to attend to you until monies are paid.
That's
or
very
something.
popular with the private hospitals.
And people die.
That's
you
very
know,
popular with private
and I've
hospitals.
heard
Even the government hospitals.
even in government
Really?
hospitals, yes, people die.
It happened to my
People-
very close
yeah.
friend. Her mother-in-law died, and they They carried her in an
And you know,
ambulance
until we
to the
get to
morgue.
that point,
They
let me
didn't,
just strike me.
they didn't take her
Until you
in.
get to that point where people start suing some of these hospitals, maybe you could get, because people just, you know, you lost
Yes,
somebody
to
and okay,
suing.
that's it. Yes.
I understand about suing, but it's just that the process is, it's a long
That's
process.
because the judiciary process is not effective. That's what he was talking about. You can't rely on it. If I know that something, I mean, I can hold someone accountable and then I can take someone to court and I will get justice. But because most people just think, okay, you know what, I couldn't be bothered. It will take me like two to 5 years for me to get justice. But if the judiciary is really effective, I mean, a friend of mine visited the prisons and he said some people cases, they've been there for years, for just, even some of them don't even know why they were there.
Even
And
in
you
the
begin to
hospitals,
wonder
there
in
are
a
people
country like
sitting there and
Nigeria,
they can't leave because
what happened to
they
prison
can't leave.
reforms? What prisons were they
I think the
reforming?
vice president visited some prisons, was it last year? And he said people are going in there and coming out as beasts. It's clear because
So there's no reform really.
Yes, you know.
No
And
rehabilitation.
what a lot of them are there on what charge? I just read on the news, was it yesterday? Someone was released after 21 years.
21 or
He was
27 years
27
or
years.
thereabouts?
7.
Yes.
And he was not guilty of that
A
crime.
mother or so.
Yeah, we know this happened even in the
27
Western
years.
world, but the system here needs to be hastening up. We need speed, you know. On the ER system, on the emergency units, we need to design a system whereby these hospitals at least
Take care of emergencies.
stabilize the patient, you know, before any form of funds.
Maybe these
or
are the things that
finances.
the legislation will be talking about. These are the laws that can be put. These are the things that can
For
put
this
you know,
next level.
Exactly, for this next level.
next
Because
level.
if it now becomes a law that a patient comes into the hospital and that
must.
patient should be taken care before talking about money, and it's passed, it becomes a bill, it becomes a law, it becomes a serious matter. But because unfortunately, the people that make these laws are not
But the
directly
doctors
affected.
at the very beginning, as they're leaving medical school, they take their Hippocratic oath where they are meant to take care of. Don't roll your eyes, Jay. Well, they do. They take an oath.
Well, they do, but how many of them keep to that?
It's happened to me before. We had to rush someone to the hospital. We were at the scene of the accident, and he was at the hospital. They refused to treat. They
And the
refused to
person is
treat him.
dying.
He was having a fit. And they said, well, we haven't seen anybody. We haven't seen anybody. We were still at the scene trying to process exactly what had happened, you know. And then finally, someone that they knew went and said, treat him. We're coming to make
Before
a
they
payment.
treated him.
Immediately I walked in, they were like, yes, madam, we need a deposit from you.
It's really sad, especially when it has to do with health. With the health system is deteriorating by the day. It's coming down.
I don't know
it's
how long
terrible.
it's going to take the government to put that in place. But at this point, we've heard a lot of philanthropists, people try to do something about it. So this is also a call for them. I mean, private individuals. This is I heard a pastor on the news that they're saying he's going to build a hospital just for ER. We need more of that.
Yeah, we do.
We need more of that.
do.
We need people to sponsor NEMA. I see a lot of their cars in specific
emergency
junction.
squad. That's very true.
We need people to at least step in.
Healthcare
People that
can be
could afford
affordable.
it.
That's the truth. It
Yeah.
can be very, very affordable.
Just the emergency.
Yeah.
Emergency management is key. I mean, look at what's happening in Lagos, where some of these buildings are crumbling and just coming down.
Coming down.
What do you do in that situation at that exact point in time? A lot of people are not equipped for that.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't know how to administer CPR. A lot of people don't know how to lift. I don't know if you saw the picture of the girl that was lifted out of the rubble. They were dragging her from all sorts of the oxygen.
Yeah.
I was a little traumatized because you haven't
couldn't
you
bear
don't
to watch
know
those videos.
You don't know just what internal damage she may
Would have happened
she
to
should
her at
be
that point.
Stable and still on a stretcher and taken out of there.
Carefully.
Someone had her over the shoulder
Something
and
that
was
really
running
bothered
out
me
of
when
there.
I was having my second baby was I don't have the statistics now, but the rate of women that die at childbirth.
I have it. It's
alarming.
one after, is it 90 minutes?
It's
I used to have-
alarming. The
I
statistics
Googled
of
it up
women.
once.
It's alarming.
Of children that die at childbirth.
not children,
okay,
women.
The
Okay,
mothers.
I don't have
I mean, we're
that.
not talking about children now.
Yes.
Children is a different case. I mean, the percentage that children that die under 3. And you're wondering, why? I heard of a woman that lost a child because of malaria. And malaria is like, okay,
My
it's not
friend,
malaria.
yes.
It's not the same malaria we're talking about.
Same malaria.
Women that die at childbirth. And when I had my first child outside this country, because I came from Nigeria, it was an issue for me. But when I went through the statistics of women dying at childbirth, It's not something it's not talked about here.
Yeah.
But coming back and, oh, she was giving birth to a baby and then she died. And it's just like
Especially
a
in
normal,
rural areas.
what can be done?
Yeah.
What's happening? Is it that our healthcare system is not well equipped to take care of women and then emergency? What happens at when the emergency
Especially
situation rises
managing
up?
her right after the childbirth. It's not just
Exactly,
about, oh,
that's
the baby's
key.
here,
Not just having
and we
the
believe the
baby.
woman still needs
And then you know
a
what I
whole lot
find
of
very
care.
astonishing? What I find very astonishing is
Yeah.
outside this country, we have the best doctors in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
Not just
Nigerians.
doctors. We have some of the best
Let's say medical personnel.
Yes.
medical personnel.
More recently I heard what one of the ministers said about doctors migrating. Migration is another problem. We might say, oh, our country population is so much, some should even leave, but our best of the best are migrating. Doctors are migrating in droves. My neighbor is a nurse. She's leaving the country before the end of the year. That's the truth. They are migrating in droves, and the minister said, oh, we can't be bothered. So if we have a
How do we retain them? How do we retain
How do
them?
we retain them?
How does the government retain people?
The truth is, of course,
people
when they have good salary scheme.
Yeah.
If I know that my salary scheme or my pension scheme is very palatable, why would I think of going abroad? Why would I think of leaving?
Yeah.
But when you know that the structure out there, you're sure of your salary, you're sure of your scheme, your pension scheme, you're sure of the education of your children, you want to go to somewhere
'Cause
better.
the amount of applications to embassies for visas, to the US, UK,
UK.
to Canada.
Canada.
We read about what's happening
We're having
in
a
Canada.
brain drain in this country right now.
Doctors protesting that they were overpaid. The salaries is too high.
Yeah, there's a part of Canada, I read that
They were
right up.
protesting that,
So
They
if
were
as a
what?
doctor,
Say that again?
Yeah, they said that doctor salary was too
that,
much.
That salaries is too high.
Yes.
That they were overpaid.
So it's a major issue, having
Yeah.
brain drained from this
It's-
country.
Yeah.
The best of our best is leaving the country, especially in the healthcare. So when you have a doctor that has over 25 years of experience, is leaving the country, and you say, oh, we have doctors springing up, you can't compare.
No, you can't
There is no comparison for a young doctor who's coming up from university and a doctor who's had over 25 years of experience.
It's funny you should mention that. We had an ENT specialist here in the conversation room some weeks ago.
Okay.
And I said, why is it so hard to see you at a government hospital? They're probably only available Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yes,
and
one of
even
consulting days.
after that, you have to pay a fee, maybe 5,000 naira, to see him.
Yes.
Compared to all the other doctors. He said, well, they're just not that many of us. There are
Sadly,
not that many of
that's the
us
sad truth.
around, So before my daughter could see an ENT, we had to come back on a specific day. We had to pay 5,000 naira to see the doctor. So it's happening. He's doing quite well here. He's happy working for Nigeria. But for how long?
For how long?
What if one day he's just like, you know what?
And his counterparts overseas are doing better.
You
I mean,
know?
there's no comparison. I had a friend of mine who's a nurse. She just came back to the country. And when she was telling me the amount of money she made over a span of 6 months, I was like, wow. So when other nurses hear such, they just want to migrate because they're sure of better life for their children, better life for themselves. So the country needs to start thinking of how to keep this best brain. Is that enough for us to have the population?
And it's not just the medical professionals. There are engineers,
Yeah,
there are
exactly.
HR
Of course.
professionals, so
That's
many
going to
people
be
like
really,
that.
it's really going to be difficult because we can't compete with the salary structure.
I know we can't
compete.
compete.
We can't. There's no-
There must be
there's no room
something.
for
There must be
comparison.
some
I was going to say something,
incentive.
yeah. If you really love Nigeria, you will love to work in Nigeria. If, to some extent, you have a nice
The conditions
package.
are right.
Mark
Yeah.
Ben, I
Right.
disagree with you. If there are people working outside of Nigeria that really love Nigeria, but choose to work outside, it's not because you don't
It's
love
not because
Nigeria
you
that
love
you leave.
Nigeria.
That's what I'm saying. As in, if they have a good competitive package, something, but not as good as what they have out there. You always want. Some people want it. They want to work at home.
Yeah, some people want to work at home.
And that also boils down to the insecurity,
Yeah.
the
Insecurity
power,
is a major challenge.
all of that. It's not just about how much you're being
It's
paid.
the total
Am
picture.
I afraid driving out of my house to work? Am I going to be seeing light, or am I running a generator?
Yeah. Oh,
So
well,
all
yeah.
of those things put together could help us retain some of the best staff we have.
Yeah.
Because
Even our
someone may-
parents in the
yeah.
village, are they safe in the village
How
as well?
safe are
Sometimes
they? Our
you get that
relation, how
call and
safe
you're
are
like,
they?
they've carried mama,
person.
they've carried uncle.
And-
They want this amount of money. You start
Yeah.
raising money. Where do you start from?
Very true. Very true.
That's true.
It's having the whole picture in mind. I mean, the coming administration is, Nigeria is hard work itself. That's the truth. It's a large country. A whole lot has to be done. But the truth is, I think they need to bring it down to the rural areas. That's what I think. Because we're here in Abuja, things seems a little bit easier. What about those in the villages? This healthcare system we have. Some of them, all they have is just they have just this little hospitals, not even hospital, like clinic or something.
Yeah.
And then maybe
The
you have
healthcare
nurses there. Health centers. And how, when a woman that is giving birth to a child have complications in a health center, her possibility of surviving, the chances of her child surviving, these are things that the government should be looking at. Power, we talked about power, we talked about insecurity. For me, that's the biggest challenge, honestly.
What about food? Do you think food is easily accessible? Do you think food is cheap?
Because insecurity is a major factor right now, it's affecting food. Because those who are farming, those who are farming are those that are affected by the kidnapping, by the Boko Haram, and by all that. So a lot of people are scared to go to the farm. That's a factor right now. So the food issue is a major crisis.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people who are farming are even scared to go to their farms.
And even transporting some of this produce,
that's another issue.
North all the way to the south and different parts of the country, moving them. I mean, we have the railway. It's working.
The railway is working. Yes,
somewhat.
it's working.
Somewhat working, but to move this produce to different parts of the country and to sell at a rate that is,
it's reasonable
for the traders, yes, to be able to still make their money back.
I think something we really need to look at is, I think this government has also tried in importation, reducing a whole lot from importation.
Yeah.
But we need to now start investing on crops. What are we... we need to start growing our own food. I think if the farmers are enabled, like you said, given adequate securities, I heard Dangote praising Erufai, the governor of Kaduna State. If the whole 19 governors can do like him in the north, I think there will be less poverty from the north. That's to say the man is investing heavily in agriculture.
But the insecurities we hear arising from Kaduna is not funny.
Exactly. So something that we need to note is we need the governors to aid farming. They need to invest in agriculture.
Not just in the north. Most of us are dependent on the north for food. But I think it's high time where other states should also be thinking about improving their food production. If it might not, some like my state will say, we don't have the land mass, to produce more of this food. But what about other parts of food? We're talking about chicken, livestock, and all that. So other states should, start, especially the governors, thinking of how to invest heavily, in food, because the north right now, where most of this food is coming from, is threatened. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What about you talked about growing Nigerian produce? What about even our politicians and being Nigerian in themselves, wearing Nigerian clothing proudly? I mean, how many of them, there are a couple of them that, show the branded, the foreign brands, as belts and bags and the rest of it. But how many of them are really patronizing Nigerian entrepreneurs, the people that make the bags and the shoes and everything? I think if some of our politicians, our leaders out there, truly, and when I say truly, I mean truly promotes their brands. There's nothing wrong with one of these senators buying, school bags, getting someone who's good with leather and buying school bags, paying for school bags for kids in his community.
Right.
These are the kind of things I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you carrying that one bag that will last you 2 years. Buy a mask so that, the person that is even making these bags is going home. So, when you're whistling to work, because there's something in your pocket. You're making the money at the end of it.
I agree.
These are some of the ideas.
I was involved in one of the setups at the exhibition. There was an exhibition.
Okay.
Entrepreneur exhibition.
Yeah, it's at Old Pirate Grant. And a lot of these guys from Aba came, and the vice president was there as well. He was amazed, just going around, looking at what they are producing from Aba. He was impressed. And they need to start giving them the contracts. Like, I don't know where they're getting the NYSC clothes from. They need to start giving them the contracts. Some of these contracts, they need to start trusting our local
because the finishing of some of these Abba shoes and things,
you need to go to Abba, right?
Yeah.
It's better felt than imagined.
Yeah.
To see the creativity.
Are you from Abba?
I'm from Imo State. My husband from Abia State.
Okay.
You need to go to Abba to. You'll be marveled. You need to go in there to see the talent. Some of them are are just maybe primary school holders, but the kind of thing sometimes all they need is just a little extra push and then they can match up with their competitors outside this country.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it boils down to everyone to his own.
For this next level, I think the legislators, they should start putting the tax on foreign goods. It was said, I don't know if they've
The
done
time we
it.
had this Buy Naija, it was really trending.
It was trending.
You know,
for a while,
it became
but-
really
I heard
and
of
it's,
it.
it's still the
I mean, the
trend.
foreign wine, the foreign clothes, the foreign shoes, the foreign food. If they put tax on them,
You were talking
give
about
our local-
politicians
yeah.
buying en masse. I want to take it back to the average Nigerian. The truth is, our hype, our mindset has been, oh, if it's not foreign, it's not good enough. So we need to start. It's gradually evolving, though.
Yeah.
We need to get to that point where we start, trust that. Even though it's not that fantastic, but it can get better, and
Yeah.
it's getting better.
There's something he just said about foreign food, and I was like, I wonder, do we make sardines in Nigeria? Okay, we don't. We
No,
don't.
I
But
don't
some
think-
people are very sardines. But I just wonder, what's wrong with Titus and
And the like.
stew and make it and eat it with your yam or whatever?
Yeah,
You
the more
know, you
recently,
don't have
like in
to eat
supermarkets, we
sardine.
have, I think there was even a story of stew. These are local made stew
Yes.
that was packaged, and it was from Ghana.
I remember
Like
that.
custom.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was like, so why someone else? I think it was after them when I had people, and you know one thing with Nigeria, when one person starts, everybody now,
Everyone else starts
everybody
to do
takes
it.
it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. I watched this show, that the custom people put up. Nice. I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Stopping a whole lot of these things coming
Yes,
in.
Yeah.
we've had a lot of.
I've had to even calm down
more
on,
recently.
you know,
have to
corned
give
beef
them
and the rest that I
um,
used to buy. I'm
applaud.
like,
I really applaud what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not just food, even weapons and all that. So,
Yes. Yeah.
that's something I'm going to say. If we have the right human resource, people who are passionate about the country,
Yes.
in particular offices, will do well. Will do well. You know, we see what the new custom guy is doing. We can say they're doing something. You know, so we need people at positions like this, you know, where they will take these things by themselves and just act. We saw what the late Dora
Akunyili.
did for NAFDAC.
Yeah.
She just, I didn't even know NAFDAC existed
Until she
Yes, I
turned the place around
didn't-
and she put it on the map. She
And
put
put it on
NAFDAC
the map.
on the
And
map.
then I
on the
hear
map.
the latest NAFDAC boss complaining of restricted resources. Yeah, it was on news. She was saying it on air that they were asking her for bribe, legislators. She said it. She said it.
Okay.
You know, I'm quoting her. And this is some things that should change.
Yeah.
It
And
should change. I
like
think
you
It
said,
needs to
in
change.
this
We need to
taking-
bribe our legislators to pass certain bills.
it's sad, but it's a
sad.
reality.
and
I
putting
think
the
we get to
right
that point
people
where
in the right places. I mean, I know
Yeah.
now it's going to be a next level new change, new heads of agencies. Let the professionals be at the helm of affairs, not just for any sentimental reasons that they're being placed there,
Yeah.
but let them actually know their onions. Let them know what it is that they're doing. You know, because Dora Akunyili was fantastic.
She was.
and I remember that I think there were issues with her appointment at the very beginning because yes, I distinctly remember
Yeah.
that. You know, just let the right people be at the helm of affairs at these different agencies, and you know, hopefully, you know, we'll be
We'll
moving
get there.
towards it will get better for us.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Again, the people should stand. We need to start talking. We need to start meeting these agencies. We need to start meeting. A lot of people know the president. They know the vice. Some don't even know the name of their senators. Those
Yes.
representing them. They don't know
Yeah.
the name of those in the House of Reps.
Yes.
They don't know the local government chairman. They
Yeah.
don't know.
And those
You
that
just
even
want
know,
to
those that even
lambast
know,
the
some of them are
president.
loyal fans or loyalists
To them.
to these people.
So,
Yes.
So you can't even hold them accountable.
we need
so whatever
to,
they say is good, is
Yes.
fantastic,
we
is
need to
nice.
cascade
So
down to these people to know that what's my local government chairman doing? He submitted a budget, right? It was approved. What's the governor doing? What's this minister doing? Will this person representing me? A lot of the senators are giving constitutional projects. I think, have you carried it out? You know,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
hear, you know, all these things. The people need to start being mindful of the person representing me in the Senate. What's it doing? What's he or she doing?
I think it's time
You
to
know.
get more vocal, if you ask me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's time to get more vocal. So if for example, I know that this is my House of Rep and this is what I think he should be doing, I'm not doing it. I think it's time to say, you know what, if it means even writing a piece on social media, because that's the voice of the people right
It is
now.
the voice of the people.
It is for me,
Yes.
because it's more this media. You're like, okay, you might not really have access to them, but if you write a piece and you have pictures to show for this thing, Even I know even most of these politicians are even social media put them on check.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
They
Does put them on check.
A lot of them check.
So my advice is also to my very self is, if you see where something, avoid insults, avoid unnecessary, use of abusive words. Just get straight to the facts. When someone out there knows that, a piece is about me that is circulating from my local government or from my zone or from my constituency, and I'm not doing this. Okay, a good example is the case of this Success little girl.
Yes, of course.
That's from an oil-rich state. I grew up in Delta State.
Okay.
An oil-rich state, and look at how dilapidated a primary school is. Oil-rich zone. And all of a sudden, everybody wants to, they're hyping her. But we have a billion of successes out there in this country, and nobody's hearing their voices. So she's just one of them because, she trended for a while, and then she's all over the place. So what about those children that have no
that
voice?
didn't have access to
Our education system is terrible.
We need to have a checklist on why is this person in office. Like, if they don't meet certain criteria, nobody can rig an election where nobody wants you.
Yeah.
That's just the truth.
The truth is, we've not gotten to that place yet. Nigerians, because we think of our stomach
to have a
first.
voice.
It's the truth. We think of our stomach. It's sad, but it's a sad reality. Most people say the last election they had, some elections can be said, okay, this was fair in some states. And in some places, you just see that, this is obviously very, very unfair and all that, but you can't place your hands on it. But if you get to a point where, if I go back to my state and I go around the primary schools in my local government and I have pictures to show for it, that's something.
Yeah.
But most of us are in cities, we're very versed, we're on social media. I think we should get back to the roots.
All right, we've come to the end of the program. We don't have any more time. We've been talking about agenda setting, even as we're moving to the next level in the next couple of weeks. We're hoping that the federal government does more for the Nigerian populace, and we're hoping that, the next 4 years will, be the very best for us as a nation. Thank you so much for joining us. Our social media handles are available. If you have any comments, suggestions about conversations, we would love to hear from you. So on behalf of Jane and Macbeth, thank you so much for joining us, and see you soon. Goodbye.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
And our menu for today is spring rolls and tea. Behind me are my ingredients. We have the flour, the corn flour, the curry, the cube stock, we have the green pepper, the red bell pepper, we have the cabbage, we have vegetable oil, we have the salt and carrot. Also with me are the kitchen utensils you need for this preparation. You need your non-stick pot, your non-stick fry pan. You need your brush, your pastry brush. You need your measuring spoons, your measuring cups. You need your knives and your egg whisk and a clean bowl. So you wait for your pot to get dry, then you put a little bit of vegetable oil in your fry pan. Not too much. Then you wait for it to get a little bit hot, not too hot. Then you put in your cabbage on it. I'm going to stir fry my cabbage for about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now, there is an order to which you fry your spring roll fillings. We consider the color because at the end of the day, we want it to be very, very attractive. Because when you're biting your spring rolls, you look inside it, it's still very, very attractive. Now, the next thing I'm going to add is my carrot. And you have to consider the proportion of your cabbage and your carrots. You don't leave it on the fire, you keep stir frying it. The next thing we're going to add is the red bell pepper. Then you add your green pepper. Your cube stock, squeeze it in. If you realize, you notice I keep stirring it. Because if you leave it, some parts might be softer. And we want it to be the same. Then you add a little bit of salt, not too much. We're going to be making our paper wrapper, which we use for wrapping the spring roll. Now, this is an already sifted flour. I'm going to be using 1 cup. You level it. You level it. 1.5 cup of water. Stir it to become very smooth to ensure there is no lump inside. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to be doing is preparing our paper wrapper. And in doing that, we need to oil our tray because this is where we're going to be putting them. So you drop a little oil in water. You take a clean towel and you dip it into your mixture of water and oil. And you clean your pot with it. And you leave it. You will see it's going to dry up gradually, then it will give you an edge where you can pick it from. Now when you're about to end it, put a little bit of your butter. So you leave the oil to get hot for like a few minutes before you start frying your spring roll. Now after you fried it for a while, you realize the color is now golden brown.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link. And be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports.
Hello there, it's good to have you join us on the news highlight. At this time, I'm Abdul Malik Adio. Now, further stringent measures may soon be taken to rid Zamfara state of bandit terrorism, the state and its environment. Governor of the state, Bello Muhammad Matawale, met with the President, Muhammadu Buhari, late Thursday night to brief the President on the security situation in the state. The President, as he says, has promised to take immediate action with the assurance that all will be well. on the suspension of the Emir of Maru. Governor Mohammed says the action had to be taken to pave way for the thorough investigation into several petitions against him bordering on security issues. Now, the Nigerian Army says is deploying more troops and equipment to set up internal security operations in the northwest of Nigeria. Communities are therefore appealed to provide credible information to security agencies to enhance rapid response. The Chief of Training and Operation, Major General Lamidi Adeosun, made the appeal as he interacted with troops in Zamfara and Katsina State. Bandit activities has become a major threat to socio-economic activities in part of Zamfara and Katsina and Sokoto State. Now, the Nigerian Mechanized and now, the World Health Organization has released figures indicating that an estimated 420,000 people around the world lose their lives from eating food contaminated by bacteria and virus or chemical substance annually. The United Nations body also says close to 600 million people fall sick to the same reasons known globally. The World Food Safety Day is to draw the attention of government at all levels on health implication of eating contaminated food. The United Nations also adopted two of its agencies, World Health Organization and the Food and Agriculture Organization, to lead effort in promoting food safety around the world. And now to the foreign scene. Theresa May is officially stepping down as the leader of the Conservative Party, but will remain as Prime Minister until a successor is chosen. She announced her resignation 2 weeks ago, saying it was a matter of deep regret that she had been unable to deliver Brexit. 11 Conservative members of Parliament are vying to replace her as party leader and ultimately Prime Minister. The winner of the contest is expected to be announced in the week on 22nd July, and Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russia counterpart Vladimir Putin attended a gathering marking 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. And that's the trending news. Many thanks for watching. The news bulletin continues subsequently.